Well. No Man's Sky, it has been a long time indeed. I've taken like a year and a half break away from this game, and boy, am I sorry that I did. This game has evolved in ways that I never thought possible. And if the past updates are any inclination of what we may be getting in the future, guys, I think we're lined up for updates that could absolutely shatter expectations even further and further cement No Man's Sky in the space sim genre as probably the best to ever do it. My name is Vault Zero. I'll be your host, and today we're going to talk about what kind of updates we could be looking at and receiving in the future following the massive update of Corvette. It implements a game-changing feature in the ability to customize our own ships to our design, let our imagination run wild, and then also pilot these ships with interiors that we could fully customize. But one thing that Sean Murray kind of mentioned in passing in the deep dive that I noticed and wasn't really expanded upon, and to my knowledge is not in the game, was roles. Yes, you can taxi your friends around and explore the galaxy, but how cool would it be for each of you to have unique roles in the ship instead of just being along for the ride? So what I've done in the great year of 2025, I have asked ChatGPT to generate some ideas for what kind of roles we could be looking at and could possibly come to No Man's Sky's future updates. And the results, I will say, are definitely intriguing. Something that I think would make No Man's Sky just untouchable in the space genre. So we're going to start with number one, which is the pilot slash captain of the ship. And they're going to obviously be charged of the navigation and strategy. They're going to manage the flight controls, the speed, and the shields. And they would serve as a team strategist and shot caller, especially during combat. This next option, I'm not really sure how I feel about it, but if you're into a more roleplay central gameplay like I like to do, they could also be in charge of the ship itself like a traditional captain would be. They would be in charge of deciding what missions you took on through the mission board, planning your route through the system, and even delegating tasks to the crew. And like I said, that's more of a sophisticated roleplay, but if you're into it, that doesn't sound like a bad idea to me. Shield management. I think the pilot should be the one who has more control over the shields, including the ability to temporarily disable them for a speed boost or redirect the shields to the energy from the shields to specific areas. We already kind of have that system in place that allows us to redirect energy to overcharge systems, so I feel like that's kind of a moot point. Coming up next at number two is one of my favorite, and I think one of the most exciting things that could be coming to No Man's Sky, and this is going to be the gunner, and it's going to be someone who takes control over the defensive and offensive capabilities of the ship. They're going to be manning the gun turrets, providing 360-degree coverage over the Corvette ships. They're going to have dedicated consoles that give them different armament types, such as lasers, cannons, and missiles, and they're concentrating on fire and providing the ship cover during combat. And I could pull from several examples and point to other games where this happens and where it works. Most recently, if you look at Wildgate, that's a great example of a game where you have multiplayer crewed ships and have different players doing different things, and one of them being a gunner, I believe at least. Warframe's another example where you have your teammates running down and getting on turrets and firing at enemy ships, helping you complete objectives through combat. I think having mounted turrets and the weapons of the ship would need a redesign, and I kind of hope we get that. I've been playing the game for years now, for probably 4 or 5 years, and one thing I've been wanting for a while is new weapons for the ship. Piggybacking off that idea, the third and final position would be the engineer, and they would be in charge of creating munitions for the weapons, as well as managing the shields and ensure they take any extra damage. An idea I thought of that would be kind of cool, if not, I mean, it's a little unpractical, but say your ship takes damage, and you have to have someone on your crew spacewalk since we have spacewalking into the game, spacewalk outside and repair your ship from the outside. If the engines or shield generator is damaged, they have to go outside and repair it. I think that's a really cool thing. In addition to having onboard repairs, obviously, and then they could be in charge of like making sure that the systems that have energy flowing to them. Yes, you want them to overcharge, but you don't want them to get to a critical heat so that they stop functioning. They can be in charge of the heat management of the different systems. Those are some of the roles I think would fit well into No Man's Sky in terms of giving each person on your ship a specific task to do as you're traveling through space. I'm going to get into a little bit briefly of some new kinds of missions I think would be fun. I think if we have some dynamic PvE missions, we also have we have the pirate dreadnoughts now. I feel like if we had some more of those kind of missions, as well as I know you can tweak it in the settings, but more missions where your ship becomes damaged from some kind of dynamic PvE event. Maybe I think deep space creature fights would be amazing to add into the game. We've seen deep space fauna. If they could add some kind of aggressive deep space fauna, I think that would be a ton of fun to play and a ton of fun for teams to kind of come together or crews to figure out how to take down and get rewarded for that. Other than that, the only other thing I can think to mention, and it's not a huge deal yet, but I really hope they add more engaging, more team-centered missions to the bounty boards in the ship. Because so many times I've seen collect berries, collect milk, collect the facium, and for some people that's fine. I'm not knocking people that that's fine with. Other people, I like combat, and I like exploration, but I also like combat. And I don't want to just go and, milk the creatures, collect berries, if that makes any sense. Like, again, if that's your thing, that's great. Because I understand No Man's Sky is kind of a cozy game. There are plenty of people who play it in a cozy fashion. And if that's your vibe, hey man, I applaud you. But I wish they would add a little bit more combat-centered missions. Maybe the ability to take on a Sentinel Pillar, just kind of like a mission you can find the anomaly on the mission board. But based on everything we've seen from No Man's Sky over the last 9 years, I don't think there's any reason to believe that these changes could not be added. I think it's reason to believe that they will. This is a change I never thought we would get in No Man's Sky. I've always wanted, and I've said they'll never do it because it'll change too much of the game. And they have absolutely blown me and so many people away. 110,000 players is crazy. But I'm really excited to see what they come up with in the future. I would love to hear you guys' thoughts on if you think crew roles would work and what kind of roles you would like to see in the game. And I appreciate you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, if you learned anything, if you're entertained, make sure you smash that like button. And I will be back with all kinds of No Man's Sky content for you guys in the future. Thank you so much for watching, and I will catch you guys in the stars.